Okay. Ella's back. Ella's back. And we're going to talk about
Hello.
two more episodes. We're on episode 15 and 16 of season one. That's crazy. That's so many episodes.
I know. I know. It's wild.
So the first
This,
one, go ahead.
sorry, this show just keeps going on and on and on.
I know
We're only in season one.
it feels like we've done so much in such a short amount of time, and we haven't even finished season one. We have like an eternity to go, but it's been so much fun. And we're getting to like the nitty-gritty moments because they're trying to start winding down. We're going to see them try to wind down into like the final spiral of the end of season one in the next episode. But the first episode we're dealing with is called The Benders, which I love. This episode. It's based on an actual true crime family from like the 1800s. It's like a true story, and they say it's like folklore kind of because they don't know what happened to the family, but essentially there was a whole family that were like essentially murderers. There were rumors of cannibalism. There was a woman and a man. There were rumors that they were white, like husband and wife, but there were also rumors that they were incestuous. Like
Brother
husband
and
and wife,
sister.
brother and sister, husband and wife, and then there were two kids that were involved. So they could be like son and daughter, but might be niece and nephew, not certain. But anyways, they might have taken like up to 20. I think it's between 12 and 20. They had that many victims. Anyways, that's what the Benders is based around. They're kind of like one part Most Dangerous Game, three parts The Bloody Benders, and like two parts Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And they
How
are
many
not
parts is that?
That's six parts, one
Six
and then
part.
three
Yeah.
and then two. Yeah, I think I did that.
That's
I was
yeah,
I was
six parts.
thinking of like making a cocktail. I was like, in terms of like me making a cocktail, this would be a really stout drink and it would taste terrible, but this is what it reminds me of.
We should we should make cocktails based on your breakdown of the episodes.
Maybe for the finale, I'll come up with like a cute cocktail recipe and we can all get a little drunk and sad mixing our own drink based on
Perfect.
the series. But the Bender season one, episode 15 of Supernatural starts out with, I guess, a guy gets like abducted in a parking lot, and Sam and Dean show up, and they look like they're dressed like Mounties, by the way, which I do want to talk about in a second. They're in Minnesota, which is what I guess cops dress like there, where they look like Canadian police officers.
State police, yeah.
Yeah, state police, I guess. And I guess they have to look like that because it's cold and they're wearing like jackets and hats and stuff. I just was like, wow, look at how different they look than what I'm used to a police officer looking. Because I live in like the
Hot.
surface of the sun in
Yeah.
Texas. We do not dress like that here. But all that to say, they discover that like it like firsthand, it is not anything supernatural. It's not a monster, even though the little boy who was a victim thinks it was a monster. It's a family of basically like inbred psychopaths. And they figure this out because after like a night of research at a bar, Sam goes out to the car before Dean comes out, and he is the next victim, and he is abducted and put into a cage. And so Dean goes through a lot by himself to try to track him down. Meanwhile, Sam is trying to find his own way out. There's another guy there. I think his name is like Jenkins or something. He's like unnecessarily rude to Sam the whole time. And then we also realize that a part of this is that they also like to hunt the humans that they capture. So they're not just capturing them and holding them like in cages, but they're also like using them for sport for fun, which is psychotic. And then they're like cutting them up in their kitchen. It's like a little bit of everything, like I said before, the really disgusting cocktail recipe that I mentioned before. And so eventually Dean is like able to get to the house. So is the police officer that he's hanging with this whole time. And he is actually tied up. She is actually put into a cage too. But Sam is able to break out. And what ends up happening is after they threaten to shoot Sam in the cage, And Dean actually thinks that this has happened at one point. Sam is like broken out and is able to over like power the family, and he and Dean escape and they basically take the family down. And that's the Benders. It's very scary. Like it's very gross.
I love this episode.
Me too. It's so good.
There are mixed reviews I've found. I was looking at IMDb to see what other people thought of it.
What did
And
IMDb users think?
I don't know, I found a couple of reviews that were like, "Oh, it's just people, how lame." Like they're watching it for the monster of the week. And I'm like, dude, that's why I like this episode so much.
That's a really weird short-sighted thing to say
Yeah.
about the horror genre, because Stephen King's greatest books are literally always about the darkness of humanity, and they're
Yeah.
always the scariest part of his books. Like it is literally based around how the monster can make the people in the city like do fucked
Yeah.
up things. So it's really
Yeah.
strange to me that you would like that someone would be like, it's not supernatural. I'm
Oh.
like, right, but like like father of horror genre, like the one of the greatest horror writers of our time, like maybe ever, bases the majority of his work around that very thing. So I don't
Yeah.
know, go off, I guess. But
I guess. Yeah, I was really surprised to see that. I love these. They do like a couple of these types of episodes every season, I think, or at least they start out doing something that is not their typical monster of the week, that steps outside of it in some way.
yeah.
Um, and this is one of them for season one, and I love it.
Yeah, I really love that they use like an actual true crime like legend. It's because it's so creepy. And I think he even says like when they talk to Mr. Bender at one point, he's like, I'm doing this just like my father before me and his father before him. And I'm like, yeah, you guys are like,
Yeah,
your name is Bender. Like you're literally saying that you're the descendants of the legend. And that's
yeah. They
pretty
didn't know what happened to
interesting.
that family. Well, we found them.
Yeah, they moved from Kansas. It was actually in Kansas. It was in like Osage like land, and that was
Really?
like part of it. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
And
they
they
got the hell out of there. They
went to Michigan or wherever,
went to
Minnesota.
Montana,
I think it's
Minnesota.
Minnesota because
I don't.
I read, I like zoomed in on the,
Wait, isn't it Hibbing, Montana?
I thought it was Minnesota because I remember typing it in and I misspelled Minnesota.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm an English teacher, but I don't get into it because of the spelling. I'll tell you that. Because I like stories.
Minnesota.
Yeah,
Hibbing, Minnesota.
I thought that it was Minnesota because
I remembered this town name for some weird reason.
yeah, I just remember the shape of the state, which is a weird thing to remember, but I just did. I saw Minnesota, the word, and then I pictured the shape of the state. That has to be something from my childhood, I guess.
It's yeah, school trauma.
It
I
might
just
have been a
lost
good
my.
thing. It might have been Animaniacs, which was like an iconic
Ooh, that's a
cartoon from
good
my
thing.
childhood. Love it. Love it.
All
Love
right.
it.
So, um, they do for being an episode. Well, they sort of shield the fact that it's an episode that isn't about supernatural monsters
Right.
by pulling out all of the horror tropes, like a guy walking in a parking lot and it's really
Mhm.
dark. It's kind of it's kind of shiny like it's been raining and
Yeah.
there's a sound and he fully like looks under a car
Yeah.
like
And there's
something could be
shots from underneath the car, so you just see their ankles, which is always really scary.
because it insinuates that something is watching from a hidden location.
And your
Um,
ankles are showing and they're vulnerable,
vulnerable ankles. Come
which is
on,
why
guys.
we all put our feet under the blanket, at night.
Mhm.
We're afraid something under the bed is going to get them.
It's why I sleep in combat boots.
There you go. Honestly, I know you're joking, but that sounds like that honestly does sound like an L thing. Like if I were to draw like a caricature of you, I would probably put combat boots on you when you're in your PJs.
Yeah, I definitely did walk around the streets of Baltimore in pajamas and combat boots.
I
I
knew it.
definitely did do that.
I knew it.
Um, and of course a kid sees it all.
Mm-hmm.
right? Because that's also terrifying.
And
When the
traumatizing.
traumatizing for the kid, and in horror, a terrifying trope because kids are so often not believed.
Yeah, 100%. And that's something that is just like a running thing in this series is that every time a victim comes forward, they are not believed. And
Yeah.
especially if they're a kid, they're always kind of condescended at. And I
Hmm.
know that it's because they're trying to drive home the fact that hunting is something that by design, like it has to be in the shadows because no one believes it. But I always just feel bad
Yeah.
for the people.
For the people who are like, no, for real, I saw an actual werewolf, guys.
Believe me. Yeah.
Believe me. But this kid hears a noise that sounds like terrifying. And again, because we're expecting monster, we fully believe this kid even when his parents don't, because we're used to Sam and Dean going to the victims and saying stuff like, no matter how weird it sounds, just tell us everything you think you saw, because they know that it's probably true.
Yeah.
And so even they are like, yeah, monster. I wonder what that could be. What kind of monster makes that kind of sound? What kind of
Yeah.
monster hunts in a parking lot? Hmm. And then and then the state police uniforms. Listen, I was thinking because they also have some uniforms like later. You could like I just want to see like a comedy show, like a half-hour comedy show behind the scenes, not behind the scenes of making Supernatural, but behind the scenes of the cases of Supernatural where they're just like, oh, shit. Well, all right. I my state police uniform has a hole in it from where I dropped that burning hot burrito on it. What are we gonna do?
I have a hole in this jacket from that one time. Yeah, it would be really
We
interesting.
need a new
Yeah, like the costume department is probably like. Also,
um
Sam's hair is like iconic in that scene because again, he's like he combs it back away from his forehead, which is what I've been waiting for. I know it doesn't stay like that, but it's very like boyish when they have it floofed over his little like forehead like it's bangs. It's kind
mhm.
of got that like not Bieberish hair, but you know how boys used
No,
to wear their hair in
it
the
is though.
2000s,
It is a
right?
little.
And when he was trying to wear the Mountie hat, he had it pushed back away from his forehead and it kind of went to the sides and it looked so good. I thought it looked really,
It
really good
looks
that
much
way.
better. Yeah. I
I
have
agree.
comments about his hair, I think, in the next episode.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. So this is an episode where Dean gets to bond with the kid.
Yeah.
Um, but he's like, I know he's trying to make the kid like feel at ease, but he's all, yeah, ooh, what, Godzilla, I think. Whoa, I liked this one and this one.
Yeah.
He liked the remake, and the kid is like, yuck.
Ew, that made me mad. Okay, because we're a
That made
Godzilla
me mad too.
household. Like Corey is a Godzilla tattoo. Like we love Godzilla. And I was just like, you can like all of them. Also, why do you have to cut Sam down to
Right?
bond with
Just
this
to
kid?
bond with the kid. Yeah, it was annoying. Like I understand in Bugs, because Sam and that kid actually had a lot of stuff in common with each other.
And
But Dean is just,
that
yeah,
isn't something Dean would have been into.
yeah. So anyway, I love that they do their research like just in the bar. They're just like talking about monsters in a
I
public
said the
place.
same thing. I wrote the same note. I was like, I love this classic like research convo at the bar. And like
Yeah,
Dean's playing darts and it's just very kind of precious.
yeah. It feels comfortable.
Yeah, it's like they found a groove at this point, and everything's about to get ruined, but they found a
Yeah.
groove in their like quest at this point.
Yeah, it's cool. And they're using Dad's journal to figure stuff out. Um, and Dad's journal, they also noted, I don't have this written down, so I might be wrong, that he actually already kind of like highlighted this place because it
Yes.
has more disappearances than anywhere else around it, right?
Yeah, he did. That's how he convinced Dean to like, because Dean was like, well, I don't know. It doesn't seem supernatural. I can't figure it out. And he was like, okay, but Sam was like, we should still figure it out because look, Dad wrote about it. And Dean was like, all right. And so they decide
Right, right.
to stick it out. And I think like Sam's like, let's go. Dean's like, I want to stay and play longer. And Sam's like, well, we need to get up early. And Dean's like,
Yeah.
okay. He calls him grandma or something. It's really cute.
Yeah, I wrote down that this is more Dean and Sam differences being highlighted. Like
Yeah.
Dean wants to stay and play. Sam is like the responsible one.
Hmm.
Like, no, we have to get up early. Um, and then of course we get more of the horror tropes when
Yeah.
they get separate. They don't get separated. They choose to, it's only for a couple minutes because Dean is just going pee. It's not even like Dean is going to stay there for another hour and walk back to the hotel or something.
Yeah.
He's
He's
just
like,
going to meet Sam in the parking lot in 2 minutes after
yeah,
he
give me
takes
a
a leak.
second. Right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's dark and you're already suspecting, and then like bikers walk by and you're like, oh, that was dangerous. And then it's a dark parking lot. There's like fog floating through the air and there's sounds. And then there's something under the car. And again, somebody looks under the car, Sam this time, and it's a cat, which just deflates all of the tension.
Yeah, you're like, oh, we're all such suckers.
Oh man. Oh, they got us. But then Sam is gone.
Gone. And Dean is
Woo!
like urgently, like desperately kind of running around the parking lot because he sees like dad's like journal and he knows Sam wouldn't leave it behind. And
Mhm.
he checks the inside of the Impala and Sam is not in the Impala and he's like, what the fuck? And so it's kind of sweet to see him so, urgent and concerned. Like he stops people like, hey, were you out here at all in the last hour? Did you see anything? And this is kind of the first time we see like Dean really getting intensely concerned and worried for Sam. And the next day he goes and he asks for help from one of the police officers, and she has like a history too of like having lost someone close to her, like her brother was missing or something, and it endears her to Dean despite the fact that Dean, his story isn't technically checking out and she's not really certain he is who he says he is. He says Sam is his cousin.
His
She
cousin.
she looks him up. She looks up Sam and finds that his brother Dean is deceased and wanted for murder. And Dean's like, yeah, that Dean Winchester was the black sheep of the family. Like it's very it's
Handsome though.
yeah, oh, it's just
Don't be
so
obvious,
funny.
Dean.
It's so cute and it's also very I love the consistency. It's again, we always like hit on like real world consequences. We love that and we love continuity and
Mhm.
that's really fun. And one of the things that she asked him is, was Sam drunk whenever he was leaving? And Dean goes, no way, 2 beers and he's doing karaoke. And I said, I would like to see it. Let
That
us see
would
it.
be great. Thank you very much.
It was
I'm
very
I'm
cute.
into it.
It was so cute. And so we get to see kind of like defiant Dean against the odds for Sam because I think one
Yeah.
of the things that he says to allow the police officer, like to get her to allow him to come with, is how many missing people do you guys usually have and how many usually come back? And she was like, oh, you're right. And he's like,
And
well,
she looks at the picture like on her like
yeah, which is
visor
her
or whatever,
missing
her brother.
brother. Mhm.
Hmm.
And he's like, well, Sam is coming back. I'm not gonna let him be one of those. And so he gets to go with her and they're gonna go watch
Yeah.
like CCTV, which I don't even know, do they ever actually do it? They just look at like printed out photos
Maybe that's how they did it back in the early
in
2000s.
2005. That's so if that's true, then just
I
hand
hate
me
that I
my
just said
walker
that.
now.
I hate
I
that I just
need
said
a
that.
cane
Oh my
immediately.
God. Oh my God.
I one of my notes says Sam waits in a cage. Mr. Brightside plays in the background. Oh, I love
And
that
it's a
song.
short cage. He can't even stand up fully. That's like totally like a human rights violation or something.
Well, he is in there to be hunted, so I think
Still.
that all tracks. That all tracks.
Now I love the this is me gushing over cinematography again, but the
Do it.
light through the cage bars on Sam's
Mhm.
face, I'm just
Yeah,
like they just choose such good shots. They just frame everything so well in these early seasons. I just love
yeah.
them.
I
And of
really do
course,
love that in the
mhm.
early times.
And of course Sam's arms doing the work when he's
Yeah.
like pulling on the thing and trying to kick the door open.
Well, so
Holy crap.
he's hoisted himself up in the cage, like he's grabbed the bars, and he pulls himself up and he swing, even though he doesn't have a lot of room, he swings to get momentum so he can try to kick through the gate. And it's really impressive. Like that's one of the things that I think I wrote down, that I was just like, I really like that, unlike in the future when they sideline Sam, they usually knock him out and tie him up and then he can't do anything. So it's
Yeah.
really nice to see him do stuff
You know,
when he's not sidelined, they're
no,
split
but
up,
yeah.
he's captured, but his brain is always working. He's always trying to figure out the next step, and he's always trying to find like a way to not just sit idly by, but figure out what
Yes.
he can do to save himself.
Though when you say it like that, it combined with what I was about to say, which was I didn't know. I should have known what he was going to turn into, like what big muscle man he was going to turn into by this, because he still looks like such a little dude here.
Yeah.
But that makes me wonder if maybe the reason they don't knock him out and tie him up in later seasons is because it would be just unbelievable that he couldn't break through those bars.
Maybe.
You know, 5, 7 years in the future, of course he can bust through those bars because have
I
you seen him?
fully I
Like,
fully believe in like season 4 and 5. Like his physicality was like there's no way that he could have been held. And there truly
yeah,
isn't. When we get to those seasons, like he's like, I'm a
yeah,
lot of like I can do a lot of cool stuff.
uh-huh.
They do
They
kind of
have to like cut him down and depower him
mhm.
by like knocking him out and tying him up. Otherwise, there's no show
Yeah.
because he just wins.
He's just too tall and
He's too
powerful.
tall, broad, strong,
Strong.
strong.
So Dean has to do some puppy dog eyes to try to get out of trouble. And I wrote that it almost works, but then it actually does work. So I went, oh, wait, no, it does work. And
He gets a
so,
little push from the photo that she has
yeah,
on her visor.
he's like, please, because she looks him up and she's like, by the way, I know that you're the dead like murderer, alleged murderer, by the way. And he's like,
By the
hey,
way,
about that. But
so
she does handcuff him. And so then Dean has to be like super he like gets sidelined a little bit, but like he has to be resourceful and find a way, and he unscrews the top of that antenna. And I always laugh at that because I used to have a car like that where I had a little antenna that was screwed into the top because it was a hatchback. And when the Dallas Mavericks won the championship in 2011 in my old parking lot at my apartment complex, I put a little flag on it. And I guess someone hated the map. So instead of just taking the flag off, they unscrewed the entire antenna and stole my antenna with the flag on.
dicks.
I know, isn't that so mean?
Come on,
I was
guys.
like, you stole part of my car. Like you could have just taken my flag. Damn. But that's what it
Damn,
always
dudes.
makes me think of when especially that scene, because he has to sit there and like unscrew it. I'm like, that person really hated the Mavs or hated me because they really had to stand there and unscrew the
And
whole
just
thing.
cheat, cheat, because it's so small too that you're not like you're like deep,
Yeah.
deep, 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 deep,
You had to
unscrewing
really
it.
want it.
Oh my God.
So, do we want to talk about what a dick Sam's fellow captive is? Because
Okay,
what is his
yes.
problem, dude?
I guess his problem now, I might be wrong, but his problem might be that he's been captured by really scary people and he's probably going to die soon.
I mean,
No,
narrative
I know. I
narratively
know.
he needs to be a dick so we don't care, but like if
Yeah.
I was captive and some other guy got captured and put in there with me and he looked as big and resourceful as Sam, I'd be like, fuck yeah,
Well,
like
right. And
okay.
the stuff that Sam gets in there, this guy is in there and Sam notices and he's like, "Oh, great. Cool. To work. What are they? Have you seen them?" And the guy is like,
What
"I
do you mean?
what are you talking about?"
The people, what'd
And
you think it was? It's like, dude, stop being so hostile. Like y'all are
they're
on the same team.
yeah, but and I mean, he's like, "What do you?" I'm like, if I heard that, I'd be like, "I
What do
think
you
they're
know?
hunter. I think they're like like hunters. They have a lot of guns." Like, I would be trying. I would take that question as like, what kind of people are they? What do they do? Like, can you tell me
Yeah.
about them? Not like, but of course, immediately that adds to our, we don't know that they're just people yet. So when the guy is confused, we're like, oh, he's not describing like, well, they have fur and long snouts and claws. He's confused, which means, okay,
You can
this
be
is freaking me
confused without
out.
being an asshole.
I
Like
know you
he's
can.
such a dick. Like at one point,
This is,
Sam reaches his hands like up through the cage and he pulls like piping
oh
out
my God, that made me so mad.
and like a huge like bolt falls out. And he's like, interesting. Like Sam's like, oh, what was that? And the dude's like, what was it? And he goes, I think it's a bolt. And he goes, oh, a bolt.
Oh,
Cool.
great, a bull. Now
What's
we're
wrong with
saved or
you?
something. Like, come on, dude. But I do like Sam, like he's immediately like getting details to form a plan. He's like, how often do they feed you? What's this cable do, I wonder? Like
He's
if
trying to formulate
your
a
captive mate is like immediately on it,
yeah.
I'm like,
I'm
oh shit,
celebrating.
I might survive. This
I'm
is great. I'm
helping.
gonna help as much as I can. But anyway, Mr. Jenkins
Is a
does not do
douchebag.
that.
No, he's an asshole.
So he's like,
Which is the writer's like blessing to for him to die because if you're not
I
it's like
guess,
it's like in
yeah.
Wendigo where the guy who was like this the hunter guide was an asshole and so when he died you were like well I
All
mean
right. I'm not sad about it. I feel like it would have been okay for me to feel sad about Mr. Jenkins dying, but also whatever. He was
he's
a
a
dick.
jerk and he didn't listen to Sam like when
He
the
didn't. Sam
cage was opened yeah
immediately, he's like, there's no way what I just did caused that to happen.
mm-hmm.
So you should just stay put. And he's like, no, I'm getting out of here. And Sam is like, don't do it. And he can't go out and just like physically restrain him because he's still trapped. And Jenkins goes out, and of course they like really said this is a real life video game. They like dropped him a weapon to pick up. They even like gave him food right before he left. Like I
Ugh,
don't know, it's
it's
like a
really
buff or
messed up
something. And then Sam has to listen to the screams as they kill him because they don't just shoot him and then leave him.
yeah 100% and it's a game. They're not shooting him. I think they're stabbing him. They're like they have bow staffs or something.
They have like spears or something.
Yeah. And it's
Gross.
it's really messed up. But that's the most dangerous game part where
Hmm.
like generals are off with like make sure they have a great meal and that they've been rested and that they make a good, a really good game for them. And so Sam is so intuitive here at the beginning of the series. It's in there's more of that in the next episode we'll talk about. But um what I really want to talk about for the Benders is when Dean finally gets to the house. And one of my notes was, there's been inbreeding if they have a freshly evil child just walking around. Like the the officer comes and she's really sweet to this little girl, and the little girl has like matted hair and she's barefoot and she's like this weird old barrette in her hair. And you're like, I don't trust this, but she's trying to be really sweet to the little girl. And then the little girl like
Which
has this creepy smile right before her dad like
that's gonna hurt.
yeah bonks the police
Oh,
officer on the head with the
oh.
shovel.
But I do feel bad for Missy because she never had a chance. That girl just never
No,
had a
it's
chance. But
just
yeah,
how do you make a child evil? Like she has to be deeply inbred. Like something has to be programmed into this kid because
she could
she's
just be born
taking
wrong.
yeah, she's taking like she's gleeful at like this. She's a very Joffrey-esque, like gleeful, like happiness of this sinister stuff going on.
Yeah. I do like I there's a shot where they're like coming up on the house from like the driveway or whatever.
Mhm.
I really like that house. Like it's filthy on the inside.
Yeah.
It's got like balcony around the
It
top and like
probably was nice at
it
one point.
was a really pretty house. But
The horrors that have been taking place. Like at one point when Dean is sneaking around in the living room, he's trying to like get something that he can use as a weapon and sneak around, and one of the Benders is in the kitchen like bone sawing someone to death, like into pieces, like, and it's terrifying. This is the very like
Yeah.
Texas
And
Chainsaw Massacre moment.
oh, and he's just also walking around the house, just like no cover, just have to be as quiet as possible.
And that's
Oh,
when Missy
shit.
comes in again.
And of course, Dean's instinct is to be like, shh, I'm not here to hurt you. Like,
Yeah, she's there to
because she's a
disarm
child.
everyone.
Yeah, yeah. And then she's like, I know. Ah, like tries to nail him with like a knife or some
Yeah,
shit.
she literally like pins him to the wall with a knife, and he's like, "Holy shit!" And so then we get into the situation where Dean is now captive. He's been tied up, and they're telling him everything that they've been doing. And Dean realizes they have Sam downstairs, and they're gonna try to hurt him, and that they want to like hunt him, and they make Dean choose. They're
Mhm.
like, tell me which one to hunt first. And if you don't, like, we'll hurt both of them. And so they're like gonna stab Dean's eye out with like a literal white hot poker. And
Yes.
so Dean is like,
And they've
well,
already like got him like in the shoulder.
yeah, they've been torturing him. And so he kind of, I think, decides, well, Sam has a better shot at like avoiding this. So I'll say, let Sam out. And then I'm assuming Dean is thinking that will bide me a little more time to get loose, and then I can go help Sam.
I assumed he just trusted that Sam was a better hunter than these guys.
Yeah, like I thought 100% he was like, Sam has a better shot
Yeah.
than the police officer who
Yeah.
doesn't face stuff like this on a regular basis. And so he says the guy, like hunt the guy. And so the benders are like, cool, we're gonna shoot him in the cage. And
Don't
Dean
let him
is
out. Just shoot him in the cage. And
and
the panic
ooh,
on Dean's face. Oh my God.
says, if you hurt my brother, I'll kill you. I'll kill all of you, screaming across the whole house. Like it's
Hmm.
very upsetting. Like it's visceral. And the boys always do such a good job, like in scenarios like this. And unfortunately, they're often in scenarios like this. But Jensen was killing me in that scene. Like he did such a good job.
It was so good.
So Sam escapes and he takes the gun though. And again,
Yeah,
what the
he
fuck is wrong with the
escapes.
little girl? Like
I
she's
gotta
so
say
crazy.
though, Sam escapes because that dude did not follow instructions.
Mm-hmm.
He opened the cage in order to shoot Sam, and he could have just shot him through the bars. I'm not complaining because I want Sam to survive.
Sam's like,
But
thank
also,
God.
the dude is like, well, I better open it first, just in case. And Sam is like, cool, that's all I needed. Now I'm gonna murder everything.
Right.
Bye. Like,
Bye. And
the
so,
only thing between him and murdering everything that was like threatening him was like a bar of metal, like
right.
this
So,
thick, holding his cage door shut.
so once the Bender brother like opens the cage, Sam is coming out of his cage and he's doing just fine. And um, I wrote that he does some.
Sorry, I can't.
I was like, that's I'm
Woo!
the one of the most millennial things about me is that I will pop ass to that song at a drop of the hat. So
Oh gosh, yeah.
love the fucking Killers. Okay. So Sam does a little flippity flip to get away from the gunfire. Do you remember like they're shooting at him and he does some like somersaults like bloop, 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 bloop.
Yeah,
I was like, oh,
our little gymnast.
and then he clonks the guy and he takes him out. And I said a very important Huffy moment happens immediately following. So I'm going to send you in the chat the Huffy moment in question. I want you to go look at it.
I don't have to, I'm seeing it, but I also didn't have to look at it
I
because
know you know what I
it's
mean.
on the theater of my skull constantly.
It's it's because of that one moment, and I think somebody made like the most beautiful like gift set of that moment that I
Huffy chested Sam, big breath
Mhm.
Sam.
Big
Like
breasts.
this is
It sounds
I
like you
wrote
said big breast, Sam.
big chest breath.
Yes,
I don't I was just panicking words into my document at that point.
but like it is big breath because that's a thing that he does, and I forgot. Like I was like, this is where it all began. Like And
In our pod chat, did you see?
yeah,
Ooh, a chest heave.
a chest heave. And he does that usually after he beats someone's ass. And now he must take a breath. And
Yeah.
someone just made like the most stunning gift set of that. And I think that's when my Tumblr tag of moments like that throughout the show like was born. And this was this is like one of the most iconic. This one and the one in the Thor episode, like right in
Oh,
season 8,
yes.
like
Yeah.
right after he uses Mjolnir and he's like taking those breaths after he again beats someone's ass.
I love the trope of when the hunters become the hunted, which is kind of what happens here, where
An
the
actual direct line from Most Dangerous Game. Okay.
exactly. So the bad guys like come in because they hear a shot, but their dude isn't coming back. They walk in and they find their dude in the cage where Sam is supposed to be, and the other cage is empty. And where are these people? And then I think like the lights go off or something happens, like, and suddenly the tables are turned. And I know it's a trope, but I just love it so much. I kind of wish that it had gone beyond the barn. Like, okay, now you've pissed off an actual hunter, and you are
Beyond
not
the bar.
beyond the barn, like into the woods surrounding, like you aren't surviving. Like I wanted them to actually realize they were getting hunted at that point and then try to escape rather than keep just trying to hunt them down and kill them and get
I
killed in
love that
return.
idea.
I would have loved that.
You always have really good writing like notes because you're a writer yourself.
And those will come out in the later we go in seasons. These
Oh
ones
yeah.
these ones are all so solid that I don't have a lot of thoughts like that. But in this one I was like, can we have another half hour of this
Right.
episode just to go on the hunt? But I understand why we didn't do that, but
All right,
because
let
I
me
want to watch Sam and Dean and Lady Cop. What was her name?
Why do we never know their names? I know
We
Jenkins' name.
Her name is Officer Hudak.
Okay.
Only because I saw her name tag, but I can't
I thought you
remember her
said
first.
Officer Who That
Who dat?
because we
Officer
don't
Who
know her name. God.
dat. Because Dean calls her by her actual first name at one point, and I was like, this feels weird.
Yeah. Because he seems small and she seems like a woman of
Catherine
authority.
or something. Yeah, Catherine or something. And I was like,
Catherine.
don't do that. That's weird. I don't like that.
The last thing that happens in the episode is they're walking back to the car and Dean says, "Don't do that again." And Sam's like, "What?" And he's like, "Disappear on me." And it's like a moment of true, like, that was the worst thing that's ever happened to me moment. Like, and Sam's like, "Aw," but then they have to like kind of affectionately rib each other. And he's just like, "Oh, you were worried about me." And Sam and Dean's like, "Oh no, I'm just never gonna come get you again if that ever happens again." And they just kind of like, it's like a walk into the sunset kind of moment where they're just being like cute brothers, which we love.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you ready to rate what's this one called? Oh, the Benders. I was
Yes.
like,
The
what? The
Benders. The
Benders?
Benders.
Okay.
The Benders.
The
Yes, I wrote
Benders.
notes.
So let's start with our wardrobe judgment.
Uh,
As always, our descriptors are horrendous, adorable, genuinely good, terrible but great. What did you think?
I put genuinely good for the t-shirt alone.
Me too, because of the Mountie outfit and the fact that Sam's hair looked so good when he pushed it to the side.
It's true. Also, I love me, Jared, in a t-shirt.
Me too. I love, and it's a really pretty, like, is it navy? I think it's like
Yeah.
it's a really
Yeah.
pretty
It's a
color on
really
him.
pretty blue.
How I moved back over to the like huffing gift to check, and yes, it's navy. It's still up apparently.
It's still there.
He's just there breathing over and over again. Okay, so we agree, we always agree, but that makes sense that we both agree on that. So our Sam Girl friendly scale for this episode, on a scale from 1 to 5, we've got screen time, Sam Girl enjoyment, and then heart eyes. So let's start with screen time. How did you rate the Benders for screen time?
I rated it a 3.25.
Okay.
He was because he was sidelined, so he didn't get
Hmm.
as much screen time. He didn't get time with like he's in a cage right next to the like guest star of the episode, and they don't really have any s- real scenes together.
Yeah, they don't really talk, do they?
Yeah. So, but he did manage to save himself
I do love that.
on screen. But yeah,
Mhm.
most of the meaningful character interaction is with Dean. So
Yeah, I said 2.5 because I was like, he's barely there.
yeah,
He does
I
great
should
stuff
have.
when
Yeah,
when he's there, he does great stuff, but it's minimal to me.
I think that three is quickly becoming my one.
Well, we'll get to a place where like one is a -5. So
Yeah,
we're
that's true.
fine. It's fine. We're
It's
fine.
fine.
We
So
can
yeah,
always adjust. So, okay, enjoyment. What did you rate for enjoyment for this episode?
I gave it a 3.5
Okay.
because of the huffy breath, and he got like a nice beat 'em up scene at the end.
Boom.
Beat 'em up, but there wasn't anything like vulnerable or I don't know, just 3.5 for me.
Fair. I gave it a 4 because the Huffy thing, love it. Love that moment. It's great. The amount, though he was not on screen a lot, the amount of cool shit he did with such little screen time was made me so happy that I felt like fed. And
Oh,
I just really loved I really like the Mountie outfit. I don't know what I think I have a thing for Canada. I really like Canada. So the fact that it reminded me of that, and I just loved his hair, and I just loved everything he did the whole episode. So I really enjoyed it, even though he wasn't there very much.
yeah.
And Heart Eyes.
I put 3.75 because of okay, and I think I skipped over this when we were talking about it. When Dean finds him
Hmm.
the first time in the barn before he leaves and goes into the house.
Yeah,
Sam has like that iconic um looking up through the bars of the cage at Dean face.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Ew, I
It's like
love it.
iconic Sam face, and we didn't talk about it, but it definitely went into my hard eyes bank. And
Yes.
also, him throwing Dean's words back at him when Dean is like, "You let a yokel get the drop on you or whatever,"
I
and
heard you got
he's like,
it. Yeah, you got sidelined by a 13-year-old girl or something like that.
"Right, right," like Dean says to Sam the first time, "Oh, you got sidelined by just a human getting rusty there, kiddo." And then when Sam at the end, Sam is like, "You got sidelined by a 13-year-old girl getting rusty there, kiddo." I was like, yes,
Dang.
that
Give it
fed my heart
back.
eyes. Yeah,
I
I
love
like
that.
that. Yeah.
I gave it 4.6. I'm not gonna
Oh,
lie.
damn.
I
Okay.
think he looks great this episode. Again, I really love the what did you call it? The big breathy chest or whatever. I just
Big,
love
big chest breath.
chest breath. I just love
Big breath,
that.
Sam.
I love that he beat people's ass in this episode, man. I just love to see it because he should be, and he did. So I really enjoyed it. So my average for this episode is a 3.7. Your average for this episode is a 3.5. And so together we have rated this a 3.6, which is not bad. It's above average. It's above the midpoint. So now are you ready to talk about Shadow?
I am.
So when I started this episode, I wrote, I don't remember a damn thing about this episode, so I'm very excited. And then as we continue watching, I'm going to give the synopsis. I was like, this episode is a hot mess. Like, what is this is chaotic and weird. So I want to know what you think about it because I have opinions that I used to not have about this episode. The reason I couldn't remember what it was really about is because I was like, well, I don't remember a shadow monster, but that's because this episode is actually about Meg
Mhm.
and the fact that she is a demon who has been following Sam and Dean. So they're in Chicago, and this poor young girl is like walking through what is arguably the windiest, foggy, like not even fog, weirdly steamy city that I've ever seen. And there are hundreds of newspapers around. Like, why? We do not know. And
It's the early
she,
2000s. That's how they got their news back then.
guess they were just like, and then they throw them directly into the alley and it just blows around everywhere, I guess.
It's aesthetic.
Yeah. So she's going home and she feels like something scary is following her. And we're like, oh, is it a spook? Like, what's happening? And she gets home to a literal answering machine that she has to literally run back with tape, which made me literally turn to ash and blow away on the wind because I'm so old.
Don't even talk.
Oh my God. And then in the like spotlight behind her, there are these Nosferatu fingers that come after her. And then like it rips her heart out. And apparently she was ripped to shreds.
This outfit is straight mid 2000s and I love
It
it.
genuinely was pretty baller. It was a good outfit.
Yeah.
I
The
did
black
like it.
cargo pants,
She looked cool. Yeah.
the belly shirt that's not quite a belly shirt.
Yeah. She had
But
like a
her answer,
cropped jacket on. It was really
yeah,
cool.
it was cute. The answering machine was saying, I know that guy ripped your heart out last time, but this one, and then choop, choop, heart ripped out.
Blood across the whole freaking back of her apartment. So the
Yep.
next day, the guys show up. They pretend to be alarm system workers, which we will get back to because jumpsuits. Hello.
With their names embroidered on them. Please.
So cute. And
Please.
then this amazing side character, she's like the landlord or something. She lets them in and she's like, y'all's alarm system was super bad. It did not help at all. This woman died. Way to go and way to be bad at your jobs. Like, it's really funny. And she basically says, like, this girl was torn to shreds. Nobody, but there was no, like, nobody broke in. Like, there was no, like, sign of anything. So they're like, what in the world could this be? So they're at a bar later and they're discussing this, the weirdness. And Sam gets this little, I don't know if she has like a sense. It's not like his actual ability. But it's like an intuition. And he clocks that Meg, who he met when he was freaking almost at shoplifting when he was hitchhiking.
Hitchhiking.
It's not the same. Um, and he's like, whoa, what are you doing here? And she's very flirty. She's like, oh my God, it's so good to see you. Like, I went to California, like I said, but then I came back here to live for a while. And then I'm going to head back home where I'm from, which is Massachusetts. And he is like, well, what's your last name? Because he's not certain he believes what's going on. He's like, he's skeptical. And she's like, well, my name is Meg Masters, which is like a really like cool pop girly name, if you ask me. And she's like, please call me. Like, we need to hang out. And so Dean is like really, to me, he's written really weird in this. And I'm going to get into it later, but he's like kind of pushing Sam to like go like have sex with Meg. He's like, you need to think more with your downstairs brain because Sam had earlier said something like, stop thinking so much about your downstairs brain, think with your regular brain. And so Sam has to be like, no, dude, like, I really, really think something weird is going on. I just have this weird sense that it's too coincidental. So he follows her at some point and he watches her scry into the blood bowl again and like speak to whoever is her like boss or whatever. And he hears her say, don't come to the city. The boys are here. I didn't know the brothers would be here. And so he knows he was right. Like something bad is going on. So they call dad, who of course does not answer because why would he? He didn't even answer when Dean was literally dying in faith. And they're just like, okay, well, let's try to go figure this out. And so they face Meg. It turns out it's a trap. She ties them up. They're like, okay, we'll kill us then. And she's like, no, you guys are the bait for my trap. I'm trying to get your dad. And they're like, and so then they do end up like overthrowing her, getting away. You think it's over. They go back to the hotel.
Overthrowing her.
whatever they do. I just
No, they
they
literally
do
throw
throw
her.
her out a window. That is true. They
Sorry.
overpower her
Sorry.
through a window. This is true. Which we
Sorry.
do need to have a conversation about that as well. But dad is there. And as you guys can imagine, I cheered. Um and I did, and I hate him. And they have like this moment. They then are all attacked by the Davis or whatever it's called. It looks like Diva, but it's Daevas. So it's like Davis, which sounds like Davis, which was my ex boyfriend from high school's last name. So I don't know. It's weird. They're all attacked by it. Sam gets them out of it by thinking fast. He's like, they're made of shadow. So I'm going to make it so bright that there's not even a place for them to be. They escape the room. They go downstairs. And inexplicably, even though they've already just been reunited, Dean is like, we should split up. Dad's too weak when he's with us. And it's like, because he loves y'all so much. What are you talking about? But, anyways, they decide to split up. And then the two cars drive opposite directions. The boys in one car, John, dad of the fucking year, Winchester in the other. And so that's the end of the episode.
We are gonna talk about that.
Yeah, okay. I know that it sounded convoluted the way I was explaining what happened, but that the episode is so choppy and weird to
It
me. Like
is. It really
pacing is
is.
weird. I know that they were trying to like have like big reveals, but like it
This
just
where, because just I mean, just like in the Benders, they're trying to do a little bit of misdirection about who the actual like monster is. So
yeah.
the opening gambit has a girl getting killed by a shadow hand.
Mm-hmm.
And so we think, oh, shadow monster, that's the deal. But
Yeah.
the shadow, and then we find Meg and we're like, oh, shit, okay, well, Meg's the deal. And then we see Meg talking to her boss. Oh no, Meg's not the deal. Meg has a boss. The boss is the deal. And the
Right.
boss is coming to town. And the boss might not be coming to town, but we don't know what's going on with the boss, but the boss
Yeah.
is the big bad.
He's
But
there.
it,
Yeah.
yeah, but it turns out through much choppy storytelling later, the boss was never the thing. It was
Mm-mm.
always a trap for Winchesters, and not even the Winchesters we we're interested in.
Right. And that they killed that poor girl at the beginning just to draw the Winchesters to the city, which meant they
Yeah.
killed them for no reason.
And they
And
had to kill more than one, right, in order to get their
yeah,
attention.
because they had to establish a pattern.
Yeah.
And so I get it. It like it makes sense, but it just did not, it did not deliver, in my opinion. Like I just felt like okay, okay. And I think it had a lot to do with like I thought Dean was like extremely moody in this episode. There's a moment where Meg is introduced to Dean. And if you remember when we first meet Dean or first meet Meg, it's in Scarecrow when they've split up and they had a huge fight. And he's basically like, Dean makes it my way or the highway, and I really want to do it this way. So I left. And she confronts Dean about it and is like, why do you always carry your brother around like he's luggage, like
I think I
and
wrote Meg the ultimate Sam girl for 3 seconds.
literally, yeah, like and and he gets really moody about it. He's like, dang, okay. And not only does he like call Sam out in the parking lot, he's like, what am I like forcing you around against your will? And it's kind of like, well, yeah, you did come fish him out of his happy little life to go on the road with you originally. Like he did choose to come with you after, you know, worse things spilled into his happy life and just died. But like, yeah, it's I mean, we already knew this wasn't the life that Sam has ever wanted.
And
Why are
Dean
you
knows
acting
that.
shocked? Yeah.
Yeah, why are you surprised, bruh? And also, Sam is like, Dean, just chill out about it. It was right after we had that huge fight. Like, Dean didn't say some shit.
I was
too.
about to say, as if if Sam hadn't run into people that Dean had just like talked about his brother to, like he probably would have heard some stuff too that was, that Dean would have said. And I just thought it was kind of annoying to me where I was just like, can you get your
Chill out,
panties out
man.
of your ass crack and just like relax? Like, I don't understand why you're so like bunched up right now about this.
Yeah. And Sam
And
is so fed up the whole time that he's trying to tell Dean, like, no, something is fucked up with Meg. I met her months ago. This country is huge. There's
yeah,
no way I should have ever seen her again. There's something up. And Dean is like, oh, yeah, I bet you want something to be up. Like, and
not to
Sam is just
not
like,
to laugh at Dean and encourage this kind of behavior, but
I
it was
mean,
pretty
but
funny.
I mean, Dean should be suspicious.
There's a time and a place for it, exactly. Like there's a
This
reason Sam
is
is skeptical.
very, very suspicious. And part of me just wonders if this is him sort of trying to discount that whole episode, that whole event in their lives because Sam has aired dirty laundry that Dean is ashamed of or doesn't want to hear about. So now he's just like, no, everything with Meg is in the past. Let's not even think about it anymore. I do like that he thinks that Sam's first date go to is poetry reading.
That down too. Shut up, Elle. Oh my god. Invite her to a poetry reading or whatever it is. I love that. Also, would be a dream date to go on your first date if it wasn't some douchebag. If it was like a genuinely cool person who liked poetry, that would be.
If it was Sam, Dean also gives
Oh,
Sam.
did you
eh,
hear the knock at my door? Do you know what has just been delivered to me, Elle?
no, a surprise.
The Supernatural 15 season box set that I purchased yesterday after being absolutely traumatized by the sex scene music on the Netflix like version of Route 66.
Oh,
It was just delivered.
that's amazing. Do you need to go get it?
Yeah, I'm gonna go pick it up and it'll be fine. We'll leave it running.
Okay.
Guys, I will never have to listen to another terrible fake song on Netflix ever again. I'm gonna have the real discs.
I'm so jealous.
Please hold.
Oh my God. It is
It's
15. I don't think
really
I've ever
heavy.
seen a 15 season set of anything before.
Oh my god, I'll open it later. I'm really excited. I'll send you guys. I'll do like an unboxing and we'll look at all of the stuff inside because
Fantastic.
I haven't had like physical media in a long time, but I can't believe it was delivered while we're recording. Thank
That
God.
is so funny. Okay, but the other Dean gives in the same scene Sam advice on how to bite. He says, don't leave teeth marks, just enough
No.
to, and then he
Why?
gets cut off.
Why did you remind me that? I purposefully like blocked that out of my head.
Dean has practice.
No, I hate that you reminded me that it really creeped me out.
Don't leave teeth marks.
Really creeped me out. Okay.
Then, of course, Sam is following, stalking Meg. I mean, for good reason, but still. And Dean is like, "Are you're following her, man?" Like he just doesn't.
He's a creep in this one.
I don't get why Dean isn't more suspicious.
Why are they making Dean into this kind of like brainless, like kind of weird creep in this one? Like he's making jokes about Meg and kind of objectifying her and like making Sam uncomfortable when like he really should be focused on like what is weird about the scenario and the situation. And it's just like, I don't know. I don't get when they make him like this because it's not cute. Maybe it used to be. I just don't think it's cute. And it doesn't make him look good at his job either.
I can't remember 2 decades ago whether
Yeah.
or not that was supposed to be cute back
Maybe
then.
it was cute and we're just
Old.
Evolve.
Woke,
Yeah,
the
you
liberal
can't
elites.
enjoy Dean anymore. You can't enjoy Dean anymore because of woke.
Let's talk about those jumpsuits.
Okay, the funniest part to me is that usually when we see them in like these situations, they've like either just walked out of a bathroom where they've changed or they're already at the door knocking. But in this situation, they were like in the Impala in these jumpsuits. And like, how did they get them with the actual little
With their
like
little name tags
in the
embroidered.
embroidered and it says like the security company on it? Like, I'm so interested in this whole like I want to know that side
This is
quest.
what I'm saying. Yeah. Let's have a side quest comedy show.
Oh, and I want to say this too, because as they're walking, like Dean says, "Oh, I feel like some kind of high school drama dork," and then he kind of ribs Sam a little bit and like elbows him, and he's like, huh, "What was that? That play you were in, your town or whatever, and it's our town." And I literally wrote a little ficlet about that throwaway line about
Aw.
Sam being in our town in high school, and it
And
was like,
didn't Dean say he was cute? That means Dean went to the show.
yeah, that's so cute.
Brothers! Sam follows Meg
Yeah, let's get
to
back on track.
her place. Yeah, right.
And
And
she
he pulls a
knows,
Spider-Man. Well,
yes,
yeah,
and
she knows he's following
which is
her
why she
because
she undresses in the in like fully open, no blinds or curtains, like window.
she's like, I'll just put on a show. And she doesn't even need to put on a show, right? Because she knows that Sam is not there to perv on her.
Yeah, she just wants to make him uncomfortable. And
Yeah.
I think that's why it creeps me out so much that Dean is also on that same train because it feels like he's aligned with Meg because he like Dean is trying to make him uncomfortable with all that and
Meg.
Meg is too. And I'm just like, why are we doing this? Like, can y'all please stop?
Yeah, yeah.
It just feels weird. It feels icky to me.
It because it's icky. So yeah, but so he follows her as she planned. Spider-Man's his way up the like elevator shaft, the like
Peter Parker
fancy
ass.
like the fancy old school elevator with like the bars,
Mm-hmm.
which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
I love that Sam is doing the like adventure part of this episode.
Yeah.
That
Well,
was really
especially
cool for
because
me.
like Dean was like not interested in it. Like
Dean
he
like
was
sidelined himself in this episode.
he's like, I'll just be back at the bar chilling. And
Yeah.
then
Oh, you gonna
Sam,
do some stuff?
cool.
Cool.
And he's not even like worried that Sam's in trouble or anything because he doesn't, I don't think he buys into it. So then when Sam returns and he's like, well, I saw the sigil in blood and I saw her doing dark magic and scrying. And of course, Dean says Sammy's got a thing for the bad girls. And I was just like, please stop. Like, why are we doing
Now
this?
that you have hard evidence that she is trouble, can you stop?
Well, here's the thing Sam has not given one indication that he's into Meg at all. And that's what I don't understand. Like, he's been polite, he's been nice, but he's been skeptical of her this entire time. And the only thing that Dean has to go off of that Sam's even interested in her is that she's a woman that Sam knows. And so
Yeah.
I hate this narrative that he's trying to shape, like, Sam, you have
Mm,
such a crush on the bad
a
girl, or
thing for the bad
yeah,
girls.
next
Although
time
I
you have a
did write,
crush, like make sure she's not a demon or whatever. And it's like, girl, he wasn't into her.
like, why are you pushing that? Although I did write, so Sammy's got a thing for the bad girls, if only you knew.
Okay, well, he doesn't yet. All right.
I
And
know, I
it's
know. There's
only
no reason for
one.
I agree. There is no reason for Dean
Don't
to
make
think.
me fight you. I have to fight all of the other people.
No, don't fight me.
Okay.
Don't fight me.
Okay.
But I do love when he gets back and they like because Dean has found out some stuff. Okay. He wasn't
Oh,
just
that's true.
off.
He
He
interviewed people. That's what he was doing. Sorry, he did
he
not sideline himself. He interviewed people.
well, I mean, he sidelined himself from doing anything interesting, but he did find out that Meg Masters does exist and she is from Connecticut or whatever. And fine. So she's real. I guess they don't know enough about well, we don't know what Meg is at this point yet, do we?
No,
We don't know what she is
they
yet, but
think
they
she's
don't
a witch. Like he
yeah.
was like, oh, she's doing dark magic, like she's doing stuff that they used to do to contact Satan, like, and then they said it
Yeah.
was scrying. And so I think they think she is a witch. I don't think they realize she's a demon.
Yeah. So, I do love that they show back that they get face to face at the hotel, and the dude, I gotta talk to you is just really cute.
Yeah, they do it at the same time.
Dude, I gotta talk to you.
What do they call that? Wind synced. They're wind synced.
Win sync.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
They're so cute. But it's also like once they decide like what, you know, this is, a demon that they're calling and it's probably the demon, like let's go face it. They call dad and they're
Mhm.
having this conversation getting ready. They're like cleaning their guns, like sharpening their knives, like
I
making sure
love the
they're
gun
ready.
cleaning, I have to say. The weapon checking,
The maintenance.
because
Yeah, it's
Sam is still like really a cutie at this point.
the thank you,
I hate
baby.
I hate his hair in this episode so much. I hate his
Oh,
hair in this episode so much.
oh no, okay.
It's like, oh, do we have different hair opinions?
I
Um,
do think as it gets a little less floofy and more straight, it has more, it's like to me less babyish, but I can understand like it's in
it's
between
just
growing
it's yeah, it's
stages.
so like spiky at the bottom. I just and it's like flat on his forehead. I just don't like it.
Fair.
But in general, he's still like such a cutie
Hmm.
at this point in his like facial development that it's nice to get reminders that he is actually like a beast. So like
Yeah.
checking the guns, doing the stuff and this stuff. I'm like, okay, yeah, yeah, I like those reminders.
Checking the
And
guns, doing the
doing the
stuff,
stuff. That's the family motto. Checking the guns, doing the
doing the
stuff.
stuff.
Uh that should be our tagline. Checking the guns, doing.
It's going
They
in
do
the
have
caption.
really a really good conversation here,
Oh
um
my God. Yeah, it's heart-wrenching.
where Sam is like, what if this could be it? What if this is the end of it? Like he's so hopeful that he'll be able to just go back to life.
Yeah,
And
he
Dean
says
is
I'll
like,
sleep for a month and then I'll go back to school.
that is the moment where Dean is like, shit, when this ends, I'm losing Sam, which is a bullshit thing to think in the first place, but it is his feelings about it. You can see his heart like drop.
Yeah, and it's an urgency thing. He's like, "Oh
Yeah.
no, 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 no. Like I just got back what I've always missed." And like
Hmm.
and he's like and this is why I think that Dean must be an Aries rising because like I know that in the show his birthday is like he's a Pisces or something, but the way that he reacts to everything, he's very Aries. And I am an Aries rising, so like I relate. And when he gets upset or anxious or hurt, he gets angry and he reacts like angry. And Sam kind of again picks up on him being moody and he's like, dude, what's wrong? And Dean's just like, I mean, nothing wrong. Everything, and it's like, no, it's not. What's going on? And Dean kind
Yeah.
of admits, like,
He says, what do you want? And
he's
Dean
like,
says, I don't want you to leave the second this is over, Sam.
yeah.
And it's
Sam
like,
literally asks, isn't there anything you want for yourself? And Dean says, no, there's nothing else for us after this, or for him. After this, it's gonna be something else.
mhm.
There's never over for Dean. And there's no part of himself that's ever thought for a second of the alternative.
Yeah. And the rest of that conversation, Sam saying things will never be the way they were before. And Dean
Yes.
like
Dean is,
almost hopelessly says, could be.
yeah. And
And Sam
well,
is
and
like, I don't
he,
want them to be.
Dean is like tearfully admitting, he's like, and this is one of my favorite lines from Dean in the whole series because it's so honest, but it's just so heartbreaking where Dean, he like admits, like, I want the two of us and I want dad together. I want us to be a family again. Like that has been his happiness his whole life. The only thing that he's ever, and when you grow up in a bad situation, you grow up in abuse, like your threshold for what is good and what is bad is different from if you grow up in a healthy world. And so, like, I know that what Dean finds to be a comfort is if they're together, no matter if there's fighting, no matter if there's danger, no matter if there's neglect, whatever it is. He just,
Yeah.
if we're together, we're good. If we're together, we're family and we're happy. And Sam has to clarify, like, look, even if we're not together, we are still family. I would still do anything for you. But you're going to have to let me go my own way. And I'm still family, even if that's true. And the scene ends without a word from Dean, just kind of a look where it's like, you can tell he's very much struggling
Yeah.
with that
Oh yeah.
truth.
Sam says, I'm not gonna live this life forever.
Ugh! No, that is one of the worst moments for a Sam girl because
I'm not gonna live this life forever.
he will forever live it and he'll live it longer than forever because we know that he's gonna go to a place where time is eternal and return and he's gonna have to go and start over and
Keep going.
he'll
Yeah.
always be in this trap. And again, like I said on the first episode with UL, I think I said, I get that without him returning to the toxic environment he was trying to escape, there is no supernatural, but
Right.
that is the tragedy of Sam Winter.
Yeah. Yeah. And we can talk about it.
One of the things I did say about this episode, that's kind of like just me being a dick, but it's like, why are the shadows, why do they look so silly? Like they, I don't feel like shadows are that hard to make, but they made them look so fake. It was very strange. Like it
I
was,
have beef with the whole shadow monster thing.
okay, talk to me about that because why did they make it so complicated to have
Okay.
a, a creature like this and they don't even really, they're not even a thing.
Right. Okay. So they have the creature as a shadow. Fine. Meg makes it a point to say they're here in the room with us. It's just their shadows are the only part of them you can see. So they
Yeah.
are physical things. You just can't see them except for their shadows, which means the brilliant deduction that Sam has at the end of the episode to get rid of them makes zero sense. All he does is make it more impossible for them to track where the shadow monsters are because now not only can they not see the monster, but they can't see the shadow either. Like, it doesn't make sense. The shadow monsters are nonsensical and they
Well,
don't look good.
they look really stupid. And if all they had to do was not say that one line from Meg about them, because we never actually have any evidence that they're physically in the room. Like they never run into one and like bounce back.
And
They
bounce
never
back.
get like clotheslined by one. So like they
They
could have
do
just,
get raked across the face.
and that's scary if it's a shadow doing it to you. But if they're saying it's just like some spooky do that you can't see, it's like
Uh-huh.
somehow light goes through them, but like casts a shadow still against a wall. Like
Which is not,
they
doesn't
should
make
have just
sense.
cut that line because that makes everything more confusing for people who are this obsessed with picking apart episodes of Supernatural
Maybe
as
they're
we
not
are.
writing to us.
They're like, girls,
But like,
please. It's been 27 years or however long it's been.
listen.
That's
Listen.
exaggeration, but not really.
It's been 19 years.
I can't believe I tried to be hyperbolic and I didn't go far enough. That's not my brand. My brand is usually I go too far.
Yeah, it's been 87 years.
It's been
That would
89
be,
years.
it's been
Titanic.
89 years. It would be actually scary if it was like you can't see the monster and you can't see the thing that's coming at you. But if your shadow can come into contact with its shadow, then you're in trouble. That would be scary. And that would be
Yes.
like, okay, we'll stay in the light or make sure you're in a position where the light is casting the shadow directly below you so you have little footprint as possible or something. Like
Yeah.
if you're going to make a monster that works that way, work with it. Like use the logic of that to make the episode more satisfying.
No, it would be like that episode of Doctor Who in the like forest library where the shadows are. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think so.
Where the shadows are like, if the shadow reaches you, then you die, or maybe you're already infected, something like that. But you're right.
Something like
Like
that.
when you said that, I shuddered a little because I remember I just viscerally, even without remembering the Vasta Narada, without remembering what exactly that episode's even about, I remember the Vasta Narada and the shadows, and that the shadows freaked me out.
Yeah, because it's freaky.
Yeah.
But if you're like, no, they're here, they're real. You could accidentally run into one and like bounce off and fall on your ass, but that's never going to happen because that's we're not going to play with logic like that. Like it just doesn't, it's not a satisfying monster.
It didn't work for me at all.
It
And
didn't work.
I felt like that just contributed to the chaotic nature of like the pacing of like I just felt like we were getting jerked around, we were getting told different things. So now I want to highlight something that like I it made me weak. Like I wanted to slide off my couch and fall down laughing because this was like so sad and pathetic, but it was meant to be like a big old moment. So Meg is letting them know essentially that they are the bait for their father. And Dean gets this look on his face like, oh, sweetheart, joke's on you. Our dad would never try to save us. He doesn't love us anyway.
Like, Dean, that is not a flex.
He's like, nice try, but if you hadn't noticed, he would never come to our aid. It's just like, right, that's
Well, and
exactly.
to rub salt in the wound, she says, actually, he's in town. She knows more about where their dad is than they do, and it's so fucking sad.
So horrible. Okay, so
I should not be laughing, but oh my God.
this moment where Dean is like, all right, well, snap, snap, girly. Our dad would never fall for that. And he doesn't love us. And he's like, and she's like, you have no idea how much he actually doesn't love you. He's actually here in town and not here trying to save you.
Actually,
Bye.
I will say Sam's little face when he realizes and he says, Dad, it's a trap for Dad. And he's got like his tears in his eyes. It's a trap for Dad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but then she like sits on his lap.
Non-con. No, I wrote that like
Uh,
four bullet points are all just non-con in all caps because it was horrifying.
well, and then Dean is like, get a room, you two. Like Sam's on board with this thing. And it just made me so, I got
That's
real
what I
yucked by
mean.
that.
That's what I mean. I think about the whole tone of Dean's like ribbing of his little brother this whole episode is aligned with the non it like it's aligned with that same kind of like discomfort that Meg is creating, and during the non-con he still like somehow sides with her in a weird way, like not that he sides with her but like it's still aligned with that.
Yeah, like
And I
the way that he
just
puts it, like I would want him to say like, um, he's not into you, lady, uh,
yeah, you're
or defend Sam to her in some way or something.
100%
And
nope.
I try to be like, okay, well, he's trying to kind of piss her off because I feel like they're in sync about what happens next. Like Dean is trying to
Yes.
get out of his bonds, but he also knows Sam has a knife. And if he can divert her attention enough, one of them will get out of their ropes,
Yeah. So maybe he
right?
was kind of like being like, dang, get a room because he knew Sam was going to play along to distract her. But it just felt bad. Like I just
It
didn't
felt
like it.
terrible. And I feel like he could also have he could have egged her on without including Sam
Yeah.
like in there as like, I don't know.
It just made me
It just
uncomfortable.
it just it just felt icky. But I did like Sam's line because that whole scene was so stressful for me because she's like on him. And then
Yes.
she goes to Dean and takes his knife like, "Oh, well, there goes their chance at escape." And then instead of just like I would expect her to stand up at that point and be like, "Nice try, boys," but instead she's so obsessed with Sam, she goes back to him
I
and
know.
like straddles him and is like, where were we? Like, let's like, what do you think is gonna happen right here? And she's like, oh, did you think you were gonna distract me? Blah blah blah. And then I do like his line though. No, it's because I have a knife of my own. Like, bam, and he's like free and there's a fight and stuff. But
And then Meg goes out the window,
and then there she goes.
which we should talk about because she will come back and she will talk to specifically Sam later in maybe next season and discuss like have you ever thought about the vessels that demons are
Mhm.
in and like and I think Meg at that time the vessel was still alive if I remember properly. I could be
I
misremembering,
I don't remember if we know that for sure.
but
But I do know that she says that. which
Yeah,
is the
it
thing that's
could be a
meaningful to
lie.
Sam.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
could be a lie later for Meg to just be really messing with him. But she does say, like, yeah, she was alive still, and you threw out a window and it shattered her bones and she was paralyzed and like,
Now she's very, very dead. Like
oh yeah.
I wrote, well, there goes Meg's host.
It's so sad to think about. And it's definitely something they don't even really touch on in season one. And
No.
so, but when you've watched it like we have and you watch back, you're like, damn.
I am glad they dig into it in a later episode, Repo Man.
Oh yeah. I mean, this series is so fun to dig into those like moral quandary kind of philosophical questions, the trolley problems. I think I said that on the last episode I was on with you.
I don't remember. I don't think so.
Okay, then it was maybe I think I've said it on like 3 episodes. People are gonna be like, Audrey, we get it. You like trolley problems, but it's very
Audrey, you're into trolleys.
okay.
Got it.
We got it. Okay, go whatever. No, but it's just that that kind of thing where like sci-fi fantasy really lends itself to being able to talk about stuff like that. And the vessel, the question of the vessel, like what do we do with the vessel? Where do we land? Where's the line? I think that's what drives the majority of the conflict and storytelling in season 4, which is why
Yes.
it's so fascinating.
Yeah. Well, and we'll talk about that at length in season 4.
I we'll have like
I have to
20.
say that, or I'm going to talk about it now.
I
So I'm
know.
pulling
We
myself back.
will. We will talk about it, and we're gonna probably end up having to have like a bunch of episodes that only discuss one episode at a time, just because we're gonna have so much to say during
It's
season
gonna be
4.
a lot.
Oh
Oh, and then
god.
Dean says, next time you want to get laid,
Ew.
for real,
He didn't ever want to get laid. He not one time had
he
any
did not want to
indication.
get laid.
He
She's straddling him and he does not want to get laid.
especially not by
Dean.
that girl. Dang.
Ugh. Damn it, Dean.
So they go back to the hotel. John is there and they have this moment. So do we want to talk about the reunion?
We have to.
Even
We
we
have
have
to.
to.
We have
No,
to.
we really do
I
because
well,
there's a lot to
I'll
unpack here.
yeah, and I'll open it up by saying they see that someone is in their, what are they? A hotel room, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Sam goes from unzipping the bag, like getting a weapon, to um, I'm just a tiny baby puppy in
Just a
like
tiny
0.5
boy.
seconds
Yeah.
flat. And he doesn't go and hug his dad immediately,
Because he
like
doesn't know
Dean
if his dad
does.
even wants to. Like Dean
Yeah,
does. Dean knows
Dean
that
does.
his
Shoot,
dad is there for him.
dad, boop. And Sam is just kind of like, don't know if
I'm
I'm
scared. Like
welcome
we haven't
here.
I mean, considering they haven't seen each other since he was like 17, 18 years old, since he was like a
Hmm.
literal child.
Yeah.
Ugh,
When he was kicked out of the house, which we've already talked
for
about,
being a crazy
for
successful
being
like
really
Stanford
good. Yeah.
full ride scholarship. Oh my god, whatever.
But can I say, when John says, I don't remember what prompts this, but Sam and Dean in unison, yes, sir.
Oh, I wrote that down, girl. I have it right
Oh,
here. It made me want to throw up
it was like a gut punch for some reason.
because I said, ew, yesers in unison. I hate it. And
Saying yes, sir to your dad squicks me out in the first place, but then they're
he's
in
not,
unison about it.
yes, he's not, they're not soldiers. He's not
Mm-mm.
your like captain or your lieutenant. He's your
He's not your commanding officer.
father. Oh my God. So Dean hugs him so tight. Sam is unsure. And but ever I said everyone gets very squinty, sad eyes. So they have those like single man tear twinkling eyes.
Yeah.
And
John, oh, I'm sorry.
well, I was just gonna say, and John is still being really cryptic. Like he's standing in front of them and he's still not giving them the answers that they are
Yeah.
asking for. He still says, you're not allowed to know, you're not allowed to come with me. Like, why are you here then? You didn't come to save them. You literally told them, yeah, I guess I figured it was a trap. That's why I was waiting in this apartment, hoping you
I was
didn't
waiting to see if
die.
you guys died.
Like,
And then if you
why
guys
are
died,
you
I was
here?
definitely not gonna go there.
Oh, I
What?
can't stand him.
I will say I made a special note of this. John is the one, Sam is standing, like waiting for how this is going to play out because he doesn't know
I'm standing
how
back.
John is, and standing back. He doesn't know
Mhm.
how John is going to react to him. He doesn't know if he's going to be welcomed back. And John is the one who brings it up. I forget what he says here too because I didn't write it down, but
He
he's like,
says it's been
we
a long
had
time.
we had a heck of a fight or something like
Yes.
that.
Yes.
And Sam says, "Yes, sir." again.
Mhm.
And
He's like scared
John
of him.
says,
They're
yeah.
scared of him.
And John says, it's good to see you again. Not, I'm sorry for kicking you out of the house slash family. I'm
Sarah's
sorry
the
for not
worst
seeing you for the
father.
last 4 years. I'm sorry for being so distant. All of the many times I have actually been around while you've been maybe dying, just not caring. No apology, nothing, nothing. And I know I'm being really hard on John, but
You cannot be hard enough, in my opinion. I hate that man, so don't feel bad.
and okay, so you are a father and your sons are standing in front of you. One's bleeding from like over here. The other
Hmm.
one's got like breaks down his face.
Yeah, they're
They've been
both
beat to
so
hell.
bloody. And he even
They
says that,
are
y'all been beat
fucked
to
up.
hell. Hmm.
Yeah. So, and you are a hunter trained in first aid. Is your first fatherly instinct not sit down, let me stitch that, or let's get that cleaned out? Or like, you've been training these guys in presumably everything, including field medicine. We know because they stitch themselves up all the time.
Hmm.
And and they're supposed to be your children. And your first instinct isn't my sons are bleeding. I must fix it. Like, I only have a 5-year-old. He's not fighting demons and he skins his knee. And I'm like, oh shit, let me make sure he's actually okay. Like,
Yeah. No,
that,
I mean, I'm with you. Like, he even acknowledges, he's like, you guys are beat to hell. Like,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah. So do something about it, dude.
yeah, do you have more to
You just,
say?
they're just like bleeding down their face saying, Dad, Dad, like, come on, man. But
So,
when the shadows come back and attack John, that was a
mhm.
real jump scare moment for me because I forgot that happened.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what's going to happen next, but I don't feel like it's over. But at one point,
Yeah.
I think Sam or Dean says to him, Dad, you don't have to worry about us. And then John says, Of course I do. I'm your father.
I'm your
I'm like,
father.
man, you
Since when?
asshole. Like, since literally when? Like,
Since when, bish?
I just don't. And here's the thing, I don't want anyone to get it twisted and for anyone to think that I think the writing is bad. I don't think
Mm-mm.
the writing is bad. I think this is a totally believable turn of
I think
events,
John is bad.
character development, all of these things. I think that John is a terrible father and a terrible person, to be honest. So it's not that I'm like, this doesn't check out. It's that I am being very clear that the narrative wants me to accept John as a good person and the good guy. And I will never, ever accept. So Sam's little eyes
Oh,
welling up with about his dad saying that he's glad to see him and they finally hug. But after
fine.
that, when they hug, that is when the Davis or whatever it is,
Of course, because
the diva
you can't
down.
have the you can't just have like a nice positive moment for Sam. It's always got to be tainted in some way. It's just my bitter Sam girl coming through.
Yeah, so that they get interrupted immediately. I said I really don't remember anything about this episode. Like, what the fuck is going on? And then Sam does the smart thing with the flares.
Hmm.
That technically, if you go back and listen to the dialogue, doesn't make a lot of sense, but it does work.
But it works.
And they get downstairs, and here's the part that I found inexplicable.
I
Like,
hate this part so
if
much.
you wanted to have Jeffrey Dean Morgan on episode 16, even though you have 22 episodes in the season, and so you needed him to return, but then leave again for some reason, could you not have come up with a better like explanation than Dean being like, don't you see? He loves us so much that he's weaker like
Dad's
when he's
weaker
with
with us
us.
around.
And I'm like,
We
are you serious? Like he wasn't
and
even around you.
Sam wants to keep the family together.
And that's what Dean just said he wanted to.
And Dean goes, "We almost got Dad killed in there."
And
Like
no,
I
they
I didn't
didn't.
see that happen. I saw John got his own ass thrown across the room. It's not like he wasn't like I guess you could argue he wasn't on guard because he was hugging his son, but like none of them saw that coming, and they wouldn't have if they had been clear across the room fighting with each other. Like it had nothing to do with John caring too much about his sons to see the danger approaching. He just full on got his ass handed to him all by himself. Thank you very much.
100%. Like he did
Also, how
nothing.
about Yeah, and also how about your dad almost got you killed like a million times over? How about that?
That's yeah, their entire life is in danger, like all the time. Their entire
All the
childhood was
time.
in danger because of John, but like he can't handle being in a little bit higher amount of danger to be with the two of you, like at least for
I mean,
the next few days.
you could fight together, maybe. You've trained them to be really good at what they do, and they've been surviving on their own without you. I think maybe the three of you together might be even more of a force to reckon with.
I
And
just don't get it.
I know that it makes sense in the universe.
It
I
makes
know that
sense in Dean's head where he
in Dean's
believes
head,
anybody that you love, you have
makes
to
you,
be isolated from because
unless it's Sam and Dean wants to be with him.
yeah, I just don't. It doesn't make sense. This is where it lost me. The episode was kind of convoluted and like chaotic and stop go stop go, turn here this now this but when we got to this moment and it's in the last like it's rushed, it's like the last like 2 minutes of the episode and
Yeah.
we're like wait what now, we're leaving each other, we had a reunion, now we're splitting up again. Why did we even bring John in? Why couldn't we just waited for episode 22 for him to like pop back up again or whatever it is,
And
21?
and honestly, like Sam's the one trying to keep the family together here
And that's what you
after
wanted, Dean.
everything. After everything. And it's what John wanted too back in the day when he kicked him out for leaving. Like
His
I
ass
know
backwards
that
way of keeping them together
I
was to kick
know
him out.
it feels so unfair to Sam, who is at this point the only one who wants to keep the family together. And the other guys are like, nope, we've all got to split up. Bye.
And he's just like,
Laters.
damn, now I'm alone
Okay.
on this side. Like before he was
Great.
alone on the other side.
Great. Cool. Cannot catch a break.
Mm-mm. I,
Cannot win Sam Winchester.
I also want to point this out because it made me very uncomfortable. And I said I don't like the parallel that they are trying to draw between Sam telling Dean earlier in the episode that he needs to let him go his own way after all this, and Dad saying, let me leave you two to deal with this alone, even though I only just showed up 15 episodes into the series and also did nothing helpful at all, literally not once. Like I really felt like the moment that Sam said, you're gonna have to let me go my own way, was a direct, like they're trying to draw this parallel to, okay, well then you have to let Dad go his own way right now. And I'm like, that is not the same.
It's not the same.
It's very sloppy parallelism. If and it's a
Yeah.
false equivalency. Like
I
Sam,
didn't even read it.
girl, put it
I
down,
do now.
wad it up, throw it in the trash because it doesn't work. But it was a parallel in that, like, you have to let you, Dean, you have to let me go. Well, then Sam, right now, you have to let Dad go,
You
and
have to
it's
let
like,
Dad go. It's
okay,
not the same thing at
Sam
all.
choosing after he gets the family business taken care of, which is destroying the thing that killed their mother, which is what kicked everything off to begin with. Once
Mhm.
that's finished and he finishes the thing with the family, him going to have a normal life, which is his right, that is different from their weird cryptic father running them around in a like wild goose chase for an entire season, popping up for 1 second to continue to not give them any information, not help save them, and then dip. Like, those are not the same things.
It's not the
And
same at all.
Sam is staying with the family during the family business. John is the one who has been noticeably absent the entire time they're trying to work on this case. Like Sam is more about the family business than John is in insofar as he is willing to partner with his brother and get this done.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just hated the idea that they were trying to parallel that. It made me really
It's
mad.
just it's so super unfair, and it
Well,
felt
it's
in an
sloppy.
episode full of sloppiness.
Mhm.
It was just like one more, okay, I see what you're having to do.
But I mean,
Yeah.
it's season one. They're still playing with stuff, but like, and they're
Yeah.
still trying to force John Winchester down our throat. And so I'm always gonna have a bad taste in my
No,
mouth when
thank
that's
you.
happening.
Ew, no, thank you on
Gross.
both counts.
So I get it. I get we're still figuring it out, but like, come now, come now.
No.
All right, are we ready to?
Seriously.
Are we ready to rate this crazy
I think
episode?
so.
So from our wardrobe judgment for this episode, what descriptor did you give this one?
I think I didn't notice the clothes, but the hair was really bothering me.
I
So
knew you didn't like it. Yeah.
even though it's not really wardrobe, well, it's kind of hair and wardrobe. It's kind of a thing. So I think I
Mhm.
gave it like whatever the
The
one
bad
is
one
that's
is
the bad one. Yeah.
horrendous.
Horrendous. Horrendous. That's
Horrendous.
so over the top, but yeah, horrendous.
Yeah, we only have like really big words. I gave it genuinely good because I like the little jumpsuits that they had embroidered special.
Uh,
I
so
thought
we're
that
gonna
was,
even out. Yeah.
yeah, we'll even out. I'll put both of them in there.
Yeah.
Okay, so our Sam Girl friendly scale, screen time, enjoyment, heart eyes. Let's start with screen time. On a scale from 1 to 5, what did you say about Shadow for screen time?
I think I'm gonna give this one like a three, like a straight 3.0
Yeah.
because there's nothing like super special about the screen time to me. Wait, maybe I'll do like a 3.5 because the end screen time where Sam is having emotions
Yeah.
is even if I'm frustrated by at the person who's giving him the emotions, um, I feel like those are that's meaningful screen time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I didn't really feel anything special about the screen time.
I gave it the same. I usually, if Sam is on the screen a lot, I give it a 4. And he was on the screen a lot, but like I didn't love the screen time because of how icky I felt with. Ooh, I just hit my mic. How icky I felt about
Bam,
how
so
Dean
icky.
was making Sam feel and like
Mhm.
how Meg was making him feel. It just felt icky. And so I bumped it down a half point because I was just like, no, I can't deal with this.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
so enjoyment.
I
We're
think
like, did we even enjoy this
did we
episode?
even enjoy it? I think I'm gonna give this one maybe like my lowest score yet, like a 2.5
Yeah.
or 2.7. There were moments I really liked. Listen, you know I'm a hurt comfort girl.
Yeah.
So when you got like Sam with his face in the camera, like getting torn apart by a shadow monster, even if I fucking hate the shadow monster, that's a thing. You
Yeah.
know, that's I like my boys bloody, but
He was very bloody at the end.
and he was very bloody, but also everything else was terrible.
Yeah.
So
It's so funny you said 2.5 or 2.7 because I gave it exactly a 2.7 for enjoyment because I didn't enjoy it. I just
yeah,
didn't. I don't think there was a moment that I was like, woo, except for the jumpsuits. I did like the jumpsuits. That was cute. And the moment about like Sam being in a play when he was a kid. But like
yeah, that was cute too.
this episode really, really was bad for me. Like I didn't enjoy it. I did get value from the beautiful performances we got from
Mhm.
Jared and specifically getting to see the boys with their dad despite how I feel about their dad, they love him and it was
Yes.
good to see that for
And that
them.
stuff is gonna pump up my hard eyes score higher
Me
than these
too.
two.
Me
Yeah.
too. That's the only reason though. Okay, so let's do
Yeah.
hard eyes then.
So my hard eyes is gonna go up to like a 3.9 or a 4. I'll do a 3.9 because I
Okay.
just don't like this episode very much. But um it's going from killing machine to puppy in like half a second,
Oh yeah.
standing back and like not knowing where he fits in this family anymore, whether he's even welcome, being so tentative around his dad and like
Oh, so upsetting.
wanting so much to keep their family together at the end, and once again no one listening to him, and once again not getting what he wants. um the jumpsuits, that's hard eyes for me.
Yeah.
um and what was the other thing at the beginning that you just said? That one was hard eyes for me too.
Oh, the being in our town, being the theater
Yeah,
kid is so
yeah,
sweet.
yeah, the
I
theater
gave it a
kid.
straight across just 3.0 for Hard Eyes. It was like right in the middle because there was stuff I
Mm.
loved so much, but then there was stuff that made me feel bleh. But I mean, Sam never makes me feel bleh, but I could only get to like a midpoint. So my overall score for this episode is average 3.06. Yours is a 3.36.
It's like the
So
farthest apart we've ever been.
just barely though. Just barely though. So this overall rating combined is a 3.21 from us. It is amongst the lower of the ratings, but it's not low enough to be amongst the lowest because the worst ones so far are in the twos.
Well, I'm bad at rating things.
You're good at it. We usually like end up somehow weirdly near each other.
That's true.
Even if
That's
you do
true.
it, even if I wrote it down like hours ago and you just came up with it right now, we're still like
We're
synced.
still like
We're
on a
synced.
par.
All right. I
Yeah.
think the next time we record together, Elle, it's gonna be the penultimate of this season. And then we'll do the finale and then we'll be done
Oh my God. I
with
can't
season
believe it.
one. I know I can't believe it
That's
either.
wild. Didn't we just start this like 2 days ago?
It does feel like it. We've been just churning it out and we're
Well,
dropping so soon. Guys, we're still recording this early. So this is actually June 13th. This is before we've even dropped the first episode. We're still recording these super early. So if you're like, are they stuff that happened a long time ago? The answer is yes.
yeah. Yes, it is. Yeah.
All right, guys, we will see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.